It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net. Christopher Media, let's make some noise. Welcome to Beer Nuts, a weekly excursion into the world of craft beer, brought to you by MichiganBeerGuide.com. And now, here are the Beer Nuts.
Welcome to Beer Nuts, Road Warriors episode number 2. My name is Chris. With me from MichiganBeerGuide.com, JR.
In the house.
And we got a couple new friends with us today, don't we, JR?
Yeah, this is going to be a really fun show. Yeah, it's Road Warriors, and generally Road Warriors are because a bunch of us are on travel. Chris is in New Jersey on travel. I'm at home in Michigan, and I have a special guest. Ross is joining us from Durham, North Carolina, and we have our special guest, Dan G., who we call just Dang. So Lieutenant Dang is in Springfield, Missouri. I think he's already been dubbed his nickname before he even said a word. So
covering a lot of mileage this episode.
And more good news is later in the show, Dugout is going to be joining us, supposedly. That's just a rumor, though, so we'll see.
Fresh off a camping trip.
We're going to kick this off. I mean, this is like, we had a guy lined up in Las Vegas, but he bailed on us. Otherwise, we were going to call it the Nationwide Road Warriors. But we got about half the country covered, so I'm pretty stoked for this one. This is only our second time we've done the Road Warriors. What we do, we have everybody who's around the different locations just pick a local beer, something close to their heart and close to where they live, and just tell us about their beer. They're going to open it up, sample it, review it, and talk to us about it. And if we come up with some great stories along the way, so be it. One great thing is, we are not a pretentious bunch here at the Beer Nuts. Whether you're brand new to craft beer and just kind of finding your way, or whether you've been into craft beer for 5-10 years and you're a more sophisticated drinker, there's room for all of us at this table because we're just a bunch of regular guys enjoying good beers and enjoying good friendship.
All right. Well, I have from Flying Fish Brewing Company. It's the 10th in a limited series release. Exit 15 Coffee IPA. All brewed with locally roasted coffee. And JR, I'm going to take a page right out of your book here, and there's quite a lengthy description here on the bottle. The Flying Fish Exit Series. It says our 10th stop on this Jersey beer journey takes us to Hoboken, which was just there earlier today. Among all its other attractions, the city at one time housed Maxwell House Coffee and the world's largest coffee roasting facility. It's been long demolished, but not before first being home to a small brewery in the late 1990s. Since Flying Fish considers coffee and beer as two of the 4 major food groups, we are once again combining them, this time with help from our friends at Revolution Roasters. They created a special multi-region blend for this brew. This beer is a big-bodied, intensely hopped golden IPA with a distinct coffee presence. We cold brewed the coffee to complement the hop flavors, but not to add to the beer's overall bitterness. The beer is hopped again, and then dry hopped with Cascade, Centennial, and Citra. This coffee IPA creates the sensory surprise of a light-colored beer with the big coffee aroma and flavor. We hope you find it good at the last sip. So, all right, I'm going to pop this open, and we're going to taste it.
Well, so everybody who's listening, pop open your beer, kick back, enjoy a beer with us. And for you other guys in other locations, go ahead and pop your beer open now, too, because I'm too thirsty to sit and listen to Chris drink.
All right, well, they are not lying. This is a very pale-looking beer. I learned in Las Vegas, don't let that fool you. I was telling JR earlier tonight, I tried out there from Banger Brewing. It's called their Morning Joe Coffee Kolsch. Probably about the same color as a fizzy yellow beer, but definitely did not taste like one.
Well, we've talked often of Coonan, and when Ross visited me up here in Michigan, he went to Coonan, and he's a big Coonan fan. Coonan makes a beer called Thumper, which is
I tried on St. Patrick's Day with you, which was delicious.
It's their session IPA, which is like their half-strength drippa with coffee in it. And it's wonderful. And it's only like 4.5%, so you can actually drink a few of them. So it's along the same lines of what you're drinking. So tell us about the beer. And
the aroma is it's coffee and hops. It is definitely what hits you right away. I mean, it even hit me when I opened the bottle.
I've had some of Flying Fish Brewing because my in-laws are from New Jersey. My wife is from there. And I love how they name their beers after the exits on the New Jersey Turnpike. And anybody who's from New Jersey knows that that's kind of like, hey, where are you from? Oh, I'm exit 7A. Where are you from? Oh, exit 4, you know. So it's kind of like part of the culture in New Jersey. So it's pretty cool. That I actually have, I forget what exit I have in my beer fridge now. It was like an anniversary ale, and it doesn't even say what style it is. I don't even know if it's still any good. If it's hoppy, obviously it's probably a barley wine at this point. But
yeah, I was down in Asbury Park earlier this week, and a store that I went to had quite the selection of the exit beers.
Oh man, well, and that's where I always go when I visit my in-laws. We head west to the shore, and there's a really cool pinball museum type place out there that I always take my kids to. And even though I take them there, I think I have a better time than they do because I love all the old vintage pinballs. Great spot down there.
I'd say I'm probably on the edge of that age group that remembers pinball machines. I mean, sure, they're around here and there, but I mean, it's, you know, I'd say people younger than me, that's the stuff old people played. You know, it's in the realm of Atari and things like that. But
hey, you calling me old?
Down here in Raleigh, they just they actually opened a nice little restaurant bar that's called Boxcar, and it's full of old vintage video games and pinball machines.
Yeah, and the other great thing about that place in Asbury Park is they had Missile Command, which is one of my old favorite video games.
Nice. All right, so the head finally settled. Let's taste this beer. Ooh, wow. So mouthfeel, it is kind of got like a medium-ish. It's definitely not. It definitely isn't thin. It's definitely not thick. Kind of right in the middle. And it's hops up front, coffee in back. This is delicious.
I'm not surprised. I've been very impressed with beers from that brewery before. Yeah, I'd like to go try every exit.
And it gets a little sweeter with each sip.
That's good stuff. You know that I love coffee beers, so I'm sure
same here.
That'll be something I'll be seeking out next time I go head to Jersey.
Well, yeah, if you like coffee and you like IPA, pick this one up if you can. If you're on the East Coast, you can hear our voice. It's a little smaller than the beer started the night with a 9%er on an episode that will air next week, ironically, but it's still 7.5. You know, it's a little stronger than Yellow Fizzy beer.
Chris, do you remember a couple episodes ago we had the Carton regular coffee that Andy brought us?
Yes.
And for those of you that don't know, if you're another more local Jersey thing is a regular coffee in Jersey is known as I think it's 2 sugars and cream and 2 sugars, and that's why that beer we had was nothing like what I thought it was going to be. It was also kind of like this style, only very strong and very sweet. So yeah, Jersey likes their coffee, and they like their regular coffee sweet and creamy.
And I'll tell you, you were right about Carton. I was, when I was in Asbury Park, I was a half an hour south of the brewery.
Nowhere to be found.
Nowhere to be found. I checked my apps, my beer menus, my Untappd. Best I was getting was it was on tap in New York City somewhere.
I went to their Finder on their website, and I went to some chain grocery store, and the guy working the section was there, and he told me some obscure, small, like neighborhood liquor store to go to. They said that they would have it on draft. And I went there, and they did have it on draft, but they also had 2 4-packs of cans left, and I bought them out. And that was like the happiest day of my life. Like 4 times I've been to Jersey looking for this stuff, never found it. But I needed a tip from a local. I got it done.
Well, yeah, since we've had it on the show, I've been to Jersey twice, and I've been trying to search it out each time, and so far unsuccessful.
Ross, have you heard of Carton beers before?
No, I mean, I heard you mention them previously, but I've not experienced them for sure.
2 big, hard-to-get beers in Jersey are Carton and Kane, and Kane is actually right next to Asbury Park and Ocean, but every time I go there, it's like they're hardly ever open, and I think, Chris, you found that out too, right? They're only open on weekends or something?
Yeah, they're only open on weekends for tours.
And I'm there visiting my in-laws, and I'm like, I have time to go there, and they're not open, and then every day they're open, we have activities planned, and I can't go. And so anyway, all right, well, thank you for sharing that with us. We're going to move down south to North Carolina and to Durham with Russ, my longtime Philadelphia Eagles buddy, but we're going to put aside the football loyalties now and talk about a really treasure of a beer that he's going to crack open with it. So take it away, Ross.
Okay, so what I'm going to have, what I have is a bottle of the regular sexual chocolate from Foothills. As people may or may not know, they just released the barrel-aged version of this last week, and I went and did the camp out there with a couple friends overnight at a all-night bottle share and into the morning bottle share. And we bought the barrel-aged version, but I had a bottle of the regular left, and I figured we could save the barrel-aged for a future show at some point, because I sent you a couple bottles, JR.
Amen. So, thank you very much. Looking forward to that one.
That one's on the way.
And Dugout's not with us yet, but that's one of his favorite breweries, so we'll make sure he's linked up with us for that. So
yeah,
go ahead.
They make a lot of good stuff. So the sexual chocolate, I'll read the description on the label here. It's a cocoa-infused imperial stout, opaque black in color with dark brown head. Big chocolate aroma with notes of espresso, blackstrap molasses, dark sweet toffee, and dark fruit. Smooth dark chocolate backbone with complex notes of coffee, dark toffee, and dark fruit. On the website, it says it's 9.75, but this year's batch was 9.6, so it varies a little bit by year. But I'm looking at it right now. Opaque definitely describes this. You're not seeing through your glass at all. It's got has a nice head on it, or it did when I first poured it. And it definitely smells it. You can smell everything that they mentioned there. There's traces of everything. Smelling the chocolate, it's got a coffee smell to it.
Hey, guys.
Sounds fantastic.
Oh, hey.
Dugout, are you in the house?
I am in the house, yep.
Welcome, Dugout. Hey, Dugout, guess what? Ross is here. Let's introduce you to Ross and to Dang, Lieutenant Dang, Dan G. Dan is visiting us from Springfield, Missouri, and Ross is from Durham, North Carolina. But why it's so ironic that you chimed in when Ross is tasting sexual chocolate, which I know Foothills is one of your favorite breweries, as you used to live in North Carolina.
Oh, I did, yeah. Back at that time, probably about, I don't know, maybe 5-6 years ago, they were just an upstart at that then. We used to get a beer from them called Hoppy Yum. It was hand distributed to certain bars in Charlotte. And Max was one of them, and I believe the Penguin was another one where we could get one, and maybe even the Thirsty Beaver. But wow, what a great beer! What a great brewery!
Yeah, I was gonna say Foothills is known for a couple of different things. They've got the hoppy I mentioned, but also their Jade IPA is very popular.
Well, I always figured that anybody that could do an IPA or a double IPA that well, and I guess Hoppy Yum would be a single IPA, but anybody that could do a single like that would just rock other beers. I mean, that they just had their craft about them so many years ago.
As I was saying, you can definitely both smell and taste everything that was on the label that they said was in here. It's not overpowering at all, not overly bitter or anything. It's just a nice, smooth, easy drink. I will look forward to tasting the BA with you when we get around to doing that. I actually had it at the tap room for the release. They served it both the night before and until 2 o'clock when they closed, and that's when we had to go outside and get in line for the next day. And then in the morning at 8 o'clock, I had a nice fresh one in the morning as well. Yeah, so we had there was a bottle share starting at 7 the previous evening, which that officially ended at 2 when the bar closed. But of course, it went on outside. So the local police will look the other way. They didn't really shut everything down until about 6 a.m. At 6 a.m., they're not allowed to look the other way anymore, and they have to tell everybody to hide it, put it away. And then, but at 8 a.m., the restaurant opens, and then you can drink inside the restaurant. So the bottle share picks up again at 8 a.m. inside the restaurant.
So you have to sober up for 2 hours.
Yep, pretty much.
Now, how does the regular sexual chocolate sit on the shelves? Is it gone pretty quick, or can anybody get it?
It's got a release in Winston-Salem, and you can usually get it at the brewery for a couple days. The same way with the BA. The BA will hang around for a couple days. The reason you go there for the release is the bottle share and the all-night party. I mean, it's kind of a bucket list thing to do around here if you're a beer junkie. And I'm like both my friends who went with me this year to do it, they all said, hey, we're going to do that again next time. So it's definitely a worthwhile to go do it again. It's a fun time. Nobody getting out of control or anything. It's just a good time all night long. And then
sounds like a potential road trip, guys.
And it's something to do, maybe once or twice a year, and we don't have to do that every weekend. The bottle share itself is great. You've got people. It poured rain on us. Luckily, my buddy Chris brought a pop tent for us. So all of 4th Street in Winston-Salem, starting at Foothills and going down to the corner around the parking lot, was all tents. I posted a picture on Facebook. John may have seen it. And but we stayed under the tents and kept sharing beer all night. So it was a good time.
Sounds like I said, guys. Hey, road trip opportunity next year.
In relation to the BA, I will say that I've not cracked any of my bottles of BA yet, but I had three or four on draft last week when I was there. It's got a little different taste to it. Obviously, I would say a little bit better, and I'm looking forward to cracking those bottles next time. But this stuff would go back to the original question. Does it sit on a shelf? No, you have to go. It gets distributed. I don't know how far within North Carolina and South Carolina, Virginia. It gets a little bit of distribution, I guess. I got a bottle of it, the last bottle that a Total Wine had on the Sunday after they got a couple cases of it on a Saturday. But other than that, if you don't get it the first couple days that it's released, you're getting it from somebody else, not a store.
Now, Ross, explain. You told me another part of the story is while you were there at Foothills, you found out that Westbrook released their Mexican cake without warning.
Yeah, that was a fun time. If we'd had our choices, we probably would have gone to Westbrook to get the cake. Making a judgment call here, but it's a little more sought after, a little more rare. They had said on their website that they were going to announce that a couple days ahead of time, so that they effectively weren't going to make it a silent release. They were going to give people a couple days to react to it, but it turns out that they didn't. While we were in line overnight at Foothills, we got word that they had started selling bottles of the Mexican cake down in Charleston at about 6 o'clock at night on Friday. We were already camped out at Foothills by then. But a friend of mine managed to go down on Tuesday and get some bottles anyway, so that worked out.
All's well that ends well.
Westbrook very conveniently is closed on Monday and on Sunday and Monday. While they sold some on Friday and Saturday, they didn't sell out completely. There's still some available on Tuesday.
As I said, all's well that ends well, and you ended up getting some, and awesome. So it was a pretty good beer weekend for you.
Oh, yes. Very good.
So before we move on to Missouri, can you just give us another brief description on the regular sexual chocolate? Because I've never had it.
Again, you're tasting the chocolate. You're definitely tasting the coffee. There's a little bit of a caramel taste there. It's really not overly strong. I've had some of this variety that have knocked. They've been a little overwhelming at one taste or the other. This is all a little bit roasted flavor in there. It comes across really well, and it smells really good. That's about the best description I can give it. It smells like they described the ingredients in it, and it tastes about the same without being overpowering, without being overly boozy or anything. It's nice.
Now you mentioned that the BA sexual chocolate is pretty limited. Is the regular one available on the shelf, or is that also elusive?
That's what I was talking about. So
the regular is elusive, and the BA is probably really elusive.
Yeah. So the regular is elusive, and the BA is brewery only. So
okay.
Wow.
Well, we very much look forward to trying the BA one when the box arrives. So thank you very much for continuing to supply us with North Carolina treasures.
That's not a problem as long as I continue to get some Michigan area treasures. So
well, we will continue to share the love. Trust me. So speaking of treasures, it's time to move on to Springfield, Missouri, to Lieutenant Dang. I hope that's not too derogatory, Dan.
No, that was my first business email address.
We're taping this on Memorial Day weekend, so we should be saluting Lieutenant Dang. So to all our veterans out there, and not to make light of a joke here, we do take our hats off to you and thank you for serving our country and preserving our freedom.
Yes.
For those that have given the ultimate sacrifice and their families, thank you from the bottom of our heart as Americans. In that light, we'll turn to the heartland of American, and really honored to have you, Dan, on the show. I've long waited for this day to be able to have you on, and you've been very generous sending the Mother's Brewing MILF. We've enjoyed it on a previous show, but I'm very much looking forward to actually enjoying one with you at the same time. So I'm going to crack mine open just like you are, and I'm going to let you take the floor.
I still can't get past. Let's just take a moment here. Its brewery is Mother's Brewing Company, and yet somehow they managed to get past the TTB that we're going to call our beer MILF. I mean, Lagunitas, they got flagged a long time ago, and they can't get anything past that even comes close to a weed reference. But yet, right on the label, all capital letters, MILF, which everybody, that is an adult that has half of a life knows what that means. Anyways, the beer here is it's an imperial stout, and the description is simply brewed with cocoa nibs and raisin. and then lovingly aged in rum, sherry, bourbon, brandy, and whiskey barrels. This big beer takes on flavors from the spirit and wood of each barrel. The end result is complex and elegant companion that's right for carefree nights of privilege and excess. Hear, hear. This beer has changed a little bit year after year, and I mean that's expected with any barrel-aged beer. But I've really come to love this beer, and we moved here from Joplin, Missouri to Springfield, which is just about an hour apart. But I've loved moving here to Springfield because I can buy as much MILF as I want. And in Joplin and in all the markets they distribute to, you're lucky if you can get a 4-pack or maybe 2. And so I ended up buying, 6 or 7 cases, whatever it came out to, because, I bought some for friends in Joplin that missed out or they wanted another 4-pack or this and that. And I've shipped plenty of it across the country to friends and people that want some. This beer is like any great imperial stout. It's a little boozy. It's got a great toffee head to it. It is just slightly kind of sweet. It's not overly sweet or sticky. And then as you taste it, it's really got that great warming notes of a good barrel-aged beer. It's got a great kind of a grapiness that comes from the sherry barrels. And from talking to the brewers this year, they really love the rum barrel note when they were tasting it, before they did their blending, and all that kind of toasted and caramel flavors that comes from the rum barrels. This year, they even released just a brandy barrel version of it. So,
I was about to ask you that when you said that they like the rum barrel. Is that available on its own? So the brandy is the only one they released as a single.
Yeah, and if you like, kind of that grapey character that comes from the sherry, it's really not crazy, the grape sherry flavor or I said sherry, I guess I should be saying brandy barrel, but it's great. It's all around good. But the regular MILF, I still just love. I mean, I wish more breweries would do more branch out from just whiskey or bourbon barrels all the time. And we've seen that. I think more breweries are doing rum and different things. But
yeah, I particularly enjoy gin barrel-aged beers too.
And we've done a few on the show here. We also did the tequila barrels. I believe White Flame had a really phenomenal tequila barrel beer that we had reviewed quite a few episodes ago.
Yeah, and something I was thinking about when I was thinking about this show coming up is, I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but I'm drinking this out of a barrel-aged beer glass made by Spiegelau. Man, they just make some killer glassware, and I just recommend to anybody out there, ditch your pint glass. Drink out of glass if you can. By any means, drink out of glass for any beer. It makes every beverage taste better, even if it's a soda or a pop or whatever it is you're drinking. For a beer, if you can get a good glass, a tulip glass or something else that matches up well with your beer, preferably if you could branch beyond that pint glass, get rid of the pint glass and go to a tulip, and then beyond that, go to Spiegelau or Riedel or some other company out there that makes really, really solid glassware.
Or just go to MichiganBeerGuy.com and click on Win This Glass, and we'll send you a MichiganBeerGuy.com tulip glass.
Yeah, read my mind, JR.
I kind of teed you up for that one. I knew you'd jump in on it.
Actually, Dan, did I send you one?
No, not yet.
All right. Well, we'll take care of that. Well, I didn't. I think that Dan will back me up that there was no room for a glass. The box I sent him, I raided my cellar for him.
Oh man, that was the best.
How much I love the MILF. I thanked him heartily. So
I know
the
best case ever.
Those Kunin beers, I know that you'll enjoy. Hopefully, maybe someday you can come up here and visit Kunin with us. Russ came last year, and
I know I enjoy Kunin.
I can't wait. It'd be a blast.
Room too. So I expect.
Did I have a beer there earlier today? I guess I had a Drippa. Yep. They got a brewing supply store right across the parking lot. So I'm brewing this weekend. I bought a whole bunch of grain over there today and had a pint.
Brewing tomorrow myself.
So, John, JR, how would you describe this beer? I mean, what have I kind of left out here that you would say about it?
Anything out. You did an outstanding job. We've reviewed it on the show before, and I'm enjoying one with you right now. And everybody knows that my favorite beer is Backwoods Bastard, and I'd have to say equal or better than this. I mean, the complexity with all those different spirits being in there, and I have a real weakness for port wine, which is closely affiliated with sherry. So I like that grapiness that you're describing and the branding in there. I really, really enjoy this beer, which is one of the reasons I wanted to really thank you and send you some good beers back because I'd like to be able to get this more often. It's a real treat. It's one of the best beers I ever tasted, frankly. And when you described it to me, I was mystified and couldn't wait to try it. But it lived up to the hype and then some. It's I love the fruit. There's that dark fruitiness to it, but just the complexity. I mean, when you look at 5 spirit barrels, who does that? It's unbelievable that these guys aren't known more highly renowned, and maybe they are, and maybe they don't want to be. Maybe they just want to be kind of on the down low. But this is a world class beer that is definitely in my top 3.
Well, that's cool to hear from somebody that's outside of the market and loves stouts to hear that about them. And I think they're just having a hard time keeping up without their current footprint they're in. Like so many breweries have, they have the problem of just keeping up with demand.
Don't fix it because
and so
try to get too big, your quality will suffer. And a lot of breweries know that, and they don't try to be something they don't want to be. So
I found
and I love the name too, even if the TTP doesn't.
What a horrible problem to have that you sell everything you produce.
I mean, you guys have tasted it before. I know we all really. This gets a very high rating from me. There's really no flaws in it. I mean, it's.
Well, the one thing I would say is I wish if I could dream, and my dream brewery, world would be they would make a double version of this and just make something that's closer to 17, 18%. That maybe they do a brewery only release, and just because that's my one thing I love about Bourbon County so much is that rich, creamy, thick mouthfeel. And this isn't thin by any means, but I'm just a nitpick, and like I said, in my dream world, that's what it would be.
So this is 11%, so maybe a 15, 16 would be.
Yeah.
Doug out, I'm sure won't argue with you because he likes the high ABV stuff too.
It's efficient.
But, hey, I really appreciate you sharing with us. We look forward to having you on the show periodically. Not only for this, but there's other great Missouri breweries that I know you have access to. So would you like to speak a little bit about other breweries in your area that you might like to feature?
Yeah, I was actually just thinking I've got some Branson Jamboree from Prairie that's down in Tulsa, and that was a deal they did with one of the big liquor stores down here provided the barrels. They did this only exclusively with this liquor store. They kept a little in Tulsa for themselves, and they shipped one to St. Louis. I don't remember if it was Total Wine or who got it. So that was sold out. They did 180 cases, and it sold out in like a day. St. Louis has just got crazy. I wish I lived closer. I wish, because like you guys said that, like Ross said, that the brewery only release stuff. You can't get there quick enough to get a hold of it. From Side Project, which is an offshoot from Perennial, and Perennial has kind of made their name on Abraxas and Sump and some other great beers that they do. So I get, they distribute, and I've got some I've built some connections, and I can get a hold of a little bit of stuff, but it's still pretty tough. And then another great brewery that I love, I was telling JR about it earlier, is Second Shift. And they make, pretty much, if I had a brewery, they make what I would do. They do a bunch of different versions of IPAs. They do a bunch of different Brett beers and a few sour beers. And they have a huge killer stout that they make that has some of the best flavor I've had in a stout ever for not being barrel aged. I'm like, man, I can't wait to get a hold of a barrel aged version of this beer. But yeah, it's grown into being not a bad area to live in. It's surprising, the kind of the notoriety that the St. Louis beer companies have gotten. That doesn't even include Schlafly, which pumps out a ton of great beer.
Wow.
I was going to go back real quick to something you said earlier about pumping up the ABV on stuff. You're lucky to live in a state like that because North Carolina caps it at 15.
As long as we're talking about that, I don't know if you guys have seen in the news this week, Ohio finally lifted their ceiling. They had, I think, what was it, 12 or something? It was a pretty low ceiling, and they couldn't even get Bourbon County and stuff. But they lifted it, but now it has to say high alcohol beer or some crap on the label. But I guess better to have, something having to be printed on the label than not available at all.
But I'm happy with a decision like that because that makes shopping so much easier without wearing my glasses.
High alcohol.
There you
I want
go.
that.
I don't know if you guys knew this. Georgia has a 14% limit right now. I don't know if you pay attention to that.
Didn't they get screwed on
apparently Terrapin made something, I'm going to say last year or the year before, which they couldn't sell in Georgia.
Could they distribute it?
Yeah, they had to send it out of state. I forget what it was.
That's terrible.
Yeah, it ended up being higher than 14. So
Now, I thought you weren't allowed to put on your label anything that talks about how powerful your alcohol content is. Is that going to be like a loophole in Ohio, or?
No, it's not required that you put the ABV on. It's not a legal requirement of the government for some strange reason. You would think that would be a pretty important thing. It is in spirits, but in beer, you're not required to put that on. It's an optional.
Okay,
but
gotcha.
in Ohio State, they are mandating spirits. You have to put the alcohol content on, but beer you do not. It's not a requirement of the TB.
I thought you couldn't talk about your stuff, packing a punch or being strong, because I read some article I was at airport a few months ago. It's about malt liquor, the history of malt liquor, and there was some company that was advertising how strong that their product was, and the government stepped in and said you can't do that, and they had to change it to like high gravity or something like that.
We're talking government here. That's all we need to say there.
Yeah, true.
Well, thanks very much, Dan, for sharing that with us. Please don't be a stranger. We'd like to have you as a regular guest periodically. And, of course, the requirement of that is you're going to have to send Doug out some high-gravity beers to taste the show.
Okay.
Be happy to.
Small price to pay. I can return the favor.
Yeah, well, Dugout, you'll be happy to know I've got a higher math in the fridge waiting for later tonight.
Oh, right on. Yeah, I'm sitting here with a couple of gems, and I'll get into that.
We are working our way around the country, so we've gone from New Jersey to North Carolina, and I guess on the way to Michigan and Chicago, and even though Dugout and I are both in Detroit, Dugout is a native of Chicago, and I think he probably has some Chicago beers, so I'm going to let him take the floor next. So, Dugout, take it away and let us know what you got on tap there.
All right, so, you said, John, I'm in Detroit. I had passed through Chicago and went camping last week in Western Illinois in a beautiful, relaxing place. Stopped in the Chicago suburbs on the way out there to pick up some beers and just started loading up the cart. And pretty soon I had about $150 worth of beer. There's quite a few which survived the trip. I'm sitting with two beers, two of my favorite Chicago breweries. Number one is Half Acre and number two is Pipeworks. And I'm just going to tell you what I got from Half Acre, and then I'm going to go into some detail on Pipeworks. I've got a double Daisy Cutter Galactic, which is all Galaxy hop.
Oh, man.
Wow. I had bought two of these, and I know I wanted to save one, and I couldn't do it. I'm drinking it tonight.
You got them, smoke them.
It's intense. It's one of my favorite breweries. It's, maybe a mile and a half from where I used to live, and I could ride my bike up there and get some growlers, go back home and sit in the backyard and drink them, and it's so great to see them doing so well. Other beer I have sitting here, and these are in glasses, by the way. My glasses, I bought them like a very long time ago at garage sales, so I've got a Hamm's glass that's shaped like a beer mug, and I've got a Schlitz Snit glass. And a Snit, if you're from the north, people in Minneapolis, northern Wisconsin would know what a Snit is. A little small 6-ounce glass that comes to chase your Bloody Mary. My beer,
the sidecar.
Ninja versus Unicorn. Pipeworks is, they're amazing. They consider themselves to be a gypsy brewery. Many recipes they do, many bottle cannings they do, because they are doing cans now, are just one-offs. You get them, drink them, great. What's the next? But Ninja vs. Unicorn has become quite a staple beer for them. A nice big double IPA. I believe it's sitting right about 8.5%. Pours a little hazy gold, and the nose is all hops, pure hop. And you get into the body, it's kind of a chewy IPA, well hopped. I wouldn't say it's balanced at all. It's a hop bomb. But what an amazing beer! Now available in cans. I love the bombers these guys do. I just recently had a beer from them called Chatone, which was brewed with hibiscus tea, sumac, and aged on oak spirals. It was a sour beer. It was just phenomenal. Absolutely crazy good. Yeah, these guys are my favorite Chicago. There's so many. I mean, when you go into Chicago, you go into a Binny's liquor store. It would be the equivalent of a Total Wine. it's just overwhelming. There's so many bombers. I try to take one or two of each, and sometimes, I get that one, and I'm going, oh my God. But Pipeworks is that way, so you just got to keep moving forward with them.
Well, I had Pipeworks recently. What was that? End of Days?
End of Days. Oh my God.
I know Doug posted it when he was out there visiting, and Uncle Pete actually, I believe, brought me a couple back. He did. He brought me 2 bombers back. I still have one, but it was phenomenal. Pipeworks End of Days. It was a Imperial Stout with peppers in it. I think cocoa nibs and peppers and maybe vanilla beans. It was just absolutely phenomenal. It's one of those breweries that I've never had a bad beer from. When I hear Pipeworks, I'm like, oh, that's going to be a winner.
It's not always normal things. I think I had a cucumber saison from them, and I hate cucumbers, but I like that beer. It was really good.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing a slice of Chicago with us. 2 great beers. I heard great things about that double daisy cutter thing. We actually, a group that I'm in on Facebook had like a lottery where you could enter to have a number drawn, and I didn't win, but I did get some End of Days from Pipeworks. Happily, I still have one left.
I missed a chance to talk about some of my small breweries in my area here in North Carolina. So everybody kind of knows Wicked Wheat or Foothills or some of the other big ones. But I'm a stout guy, and some of the places around here that are small and relatively new made some good stouts this last year. Southern Pines made something called Drunken Vigils, and I sent JR a couple cans of that. I don't know if he's had a chance to try it yet. We were all knocked out by that because the Southern Pines has generally made some beer, and it's been drinkable, but they haven't made anything that like said this puts us on the map. But I think the Drunken Vigils did. It was really good. I've seen some of their reps and some of their brewers around at various beer gatherings, and I keep telling them make a lot more next year, please. Also, Gizmo Brewery in Raleigh, they make a stout called Stiletto, and they make a one-off of that. That's a coffee stout, and I had 1 bottle of that and bought a 6 to put in my kegerator in my house. That stuff was really good. And another brewery in Hillsborough called Mystery, which makes a good stout called 6 Impossible Things. It gets a little bit better every year, and this last year's was really good. Those are my 3 small North Carolina breweries people may not know about.
So what are your thoughts on 2 that I remember specifically? Duck Rabbit, and the second one is Noda. And I mentioned Noda because I used to live in Noda.
Yeah, so they're
about 6 months before that brewery opened, and I would have been able to throw a rock from my backyard and hit it.
Noda's got a real good reputation. They make some good stuff. They're down in Charlotte, and I may actually be relatively close to them tomorrow. We're planning on a 1-day kind of drive out and go back. Charlotte's about 2 hours for me, so we're heading down that way. I may stop by there if I get a chance. And what was the other one you said?
Duck Rabbit.
Oh, Duck Rabbit. Oh, yeah. Their milk stout is that's their staple. That's the one they're kind of known for.
Yeah, and they've been around a while, what I understand, and their label is just intriguing. I mean, if you turn it one way, it's a duck. If you turn it around the other way, it's a rabbit.
They're a solid entry, and I like their stuff. And if it's on tap, I get it. When Duck Rabbit is actually all their stuff is very easily attainable. You find it everywhere, so that kind of gets put a little bit on the back burner. Once it's very easily attainable, then I can kind of get that anytime, right? So they've gotten big enough where they're you see them everywhere, at least here in North Carolina. Noda is really starting to push the product out now too. I don't know if they ramped up, if they increased capacity or whatever, but didn't used to be able to get cans of their stuff in our area, but seeing a lot of it now.
Yeah, I think a specific I was thinking of was Stop, Drop, and Roll. Is that the name of their IPA or double IPA?
I think I've seen that on some of my trading sites. Hop, Drop, and Roll?
Yeah, Hop, Drop, and Roll.
Well, all I know is if Noda was going to a beer festival, they should have a mascot that looks like a cross between Yoda and a hop. Bada bing.
So anyway, it would be green either way, right?
Wicked Weed just opened their 3rd brewing site, so they've got their original brewery, the Funkatorium, which is where they make all the sours and stuff, all the experimental things, and now they've opened a 3rd one just for capacity reasons. They hit their 25,000 barrel limit, so they have to be. Earlier this year, they started to have to be distributed, so they're really ramping up. We've been very happy with them that they've survived. They're one of the few that survived their growth spurt, not been bought out, not had anything compromised. They're gearing up for large amounts of production. So hopefully they'll start distributing, much further out of state than they are now, and you guys will see it a little easier.
Well,
does it get out of North Carolina at all, or?
It does when you know Russ.
Yeah, it makes it into. I know it makes it into Virginia and South Carolina. I don't know how much further than that. I've heard it's been on sale in New York, so I don't know if that's a special thing or not. I do know that they are conscientiously expanding and keeping an eye on quality, and everything they're putting out says, we're not looking to be bought out. We're just looking to keep doing what we're doing, but at a larger scale.
Well, keep those sours coming up here, because I have an announcement to make that this is the summer of sours for me. I'm gonna dive into the sour world. I've been dipping my toes in for a while now, and it's just time to dive in, and I'm going all in. And so what I'm gonna do is on MichiganBeerGuide.com this summer, Sundays is gonna be Sour Sundays, and I'm gonna drink it with sour every Sunday and review it on my website.
I'll say the box I just sent you has 2 Mertiels and 2 Recurrents in it, so.
Well, thank you for that, and they will be among the first, because I guess this Sunday is my first Sour Sunday. And so far, Ross, you've supplied me almost exclusively with all the sours in my collection, so we're going to have to expand that, though. And I'm very happy to announce that we actually have a up-and-coming brewery that submitted bottles for us to review. Speciation Artisan Ales sent us a couple 750s of a sour. They are not open yet, but they're going to be opening soon in Grand Rapids. And we're delighted that they reached out to us. They were very specific, saying, please give us honest reviews on the beers. They want to see how their stuff stacks up. So we will be tapping the resources of Andrea, our sour expert, when we do that. So we will wait until she's available. Things to look forward to.
Beer Nuts getting a little street cred.
No sours tonight, but I wanted to end our Road Warriors with a Michigan beer. And I actually had a Florida beer and a Wisconsin beer that Dugout had given me that I was excited to try. And I thought, you know what? I gotta show Michigan some love. I had 2 of these bottles. This is my last one, and it's a big one, so I'm going to sleep well tonight. But I had to end the show with Short Spatch 5000 Triple IPA. It's not going to be hoppy much longer anyway, and rather than have it turn into a barley wine, I'm enjoying it now. So I just poured myself a glass. Spatch 5000 is a hop bomb. It's triple IPA, immaculately conceived from years of relentless determination. Some of you know the Shorts' motto is Michigan only, Michigan forever. That being said, they did recently make a business decision to distribute outside the state of Michigan for the first time. There's mixed emotions with that. The harsh reality is if you're going to grow your business, you can't just do it in one state.
Yeah, I found some in Springfield, Illinois.
It's not a bad thing. It's more people getting more good beer from the state of Michigan. So some traditionalists are like, "Oh, I can't believe they said it." You know what? You got to do business, and if there's a demand for your beer, you might as well fill it. So that being said, this is my second bottle of this. I did have one probably 6 weeks or so ago when it came out. It's still very hoppy. The hops have faded a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It's not what it was when it was really fresh, but there's still plenty in here. So I'm drinking it now, and man, it's really delicious. I love that Shorts has distinct yeast that they use, and I could tell right away that it was a Shorts beer. Really, really nice appearance here. Pale orange, sign of a pale, dark golden to light orange. Nice, solid head with lots of lacing, and still a lot of good hops in here. So it's a triple IPA, and at 15%, it's going to kick my butt.
Now, is that in Bombers only? Because I've seen it.
Yes, it's Bombers only.
Bombers only.
So you guys out of state, I guess, actually, Dan, you can actually get Shorts beers now out where you live?
No. I have family in Springfield, Illinois. So when I go up there, I found a really good liquor store, and I can get Illinois is the closest I can go to get Dogfish Head, and now there's Shorts there, and so
you don't have Dogfish Head in Missouri?
No.
You have any 120-minute IPA?
I have one in the fridge, but that's from last year. I'm trying to find somebody I can score a fresh one from.
You got somebody. You got a friend. That's what it's all about, guys. We take care of each other. We're family. So you're all beer nuts now. You're indoctrinated. Throw your plate spin away. You're all true beer nuts now.
I love that. Yeah. That's
happy
good stuff.
Happy to find you some of that. It's actually not like a shelf item here. You still got to fight for it a little bit, but you can find it.
If you pass through the area regularly, you can stop in, and if you sweet talk them, they'll sell you a 4-pack at the bar.
Nice.
At the brewery. So some of you may know that Ross and I met years and years ago as Philadelphia Eagles fans what we do have in common is Ross lives in North Carolina. I live in Michigan. We're still Eagles season ticket holders and still go to a couple games a year. Ross more than I do. So that's how we met. But Ross has the great fortune to pass right through Dogfish Head country on his way north when he goes to Eagles games. And Ross, you're also from Delaware, right? Or you have family there?
We're from northern Delaware. Obviously, they're the beach area, but it's not exactly straight through. That's about a 40-minute side trip, but it's worth it.
Yeah, well, And the great story I want Ross to share with is the Ross and I, as Philly guys, love Scrapple, and they had a Dogfish Head beer made with Scrapple that was brewery only. And I guess Ross got there the day after. Well, I'll let you tell the story, Ross. Go ahead and take it away.
So what happened was they released this on, I want to think it was that Monday. They made a very small batch of a breakfast stout that was Scrapple based, and I really wanted to try some. So I was coming up for a game the next Sunday. I was coming up for a football game the next Sunday. I decided, you know what, I don't want to cut this close. I'm going to come up on Thursday. I'll stop in on Thursday. Hopefully they'll still have some. And I got there, and my buddy met me there. He drove down from Newark, and they told us they were out of it. So I cried for a little while because I really wanted to try some of that. And while I was sitting at the bar schmoozing with the bartender, because that never hurts, one of the locals came in who'd been out of town on business for a little while. He was also very disappointed that he'd missed getting to try it. So at that point, with my buddy explaining to the bartender how I'd driven up from North Carolina specifically just to try the Scrapple Stout, not mentioning the fact that I was coming up for an Eagles game, and this other regular who'd come in, who had missed his opportunity to get it, somehow they found a growler of it in back for us and brought it out and let us have some. I was very happy for that opportunity. That was very good beer. I would look forward to them making that again. It was a very awesome. It had a little syrup in it. You know, it had that. It tasted like a good country breakfast. And I wish I could have had more of it, but we killed off that growler while we were there and called it good, and we're very happy for it.
Well, I'm jealous, and I hope they'll brew it again. But just for the benefit of our listeners who may not know what Scrapple is, would you like to explain, Ross, or would you rather not?
So Scrapple is something, when you grow up eating it, you love it. When you find out what's in it, as long as you've grown up eating it, you're okay with it. If you know what's in it before you ever eat it, you probably never eat it. The short answer to this is they make Scrapple out of what's left over when they make hot dogs.
You could probably say the same thing about hot dogs, especially non-beef hot dogs. It's in the meat byproducts. It's the scraps and stuff. Why it's called Scrapple, and it's a little cornmeal based. You know, all the scraps mixed in with some cornmeal, but you fry it up. And the Pennsylvania way to eat it is, and maybe the Delaware way, since you said maple syrup, spot on. That's how I have mine. But Jersey people like it with ketchup. So I don't know what that's all about.
I've got some in the freezer, and I'm waiting to try it. I haven't had the guts to get up to try it yet.
It's a Philly delicacy, man.
It's guts, all right.
I don't know what it is.
It's like a quarter-inch thick and fry it until it's a nice red brown on both sides, and it's crunchy on the outside and soft in the middle, and then you got it right.
Well, that about wraps it up. Batch 5000's really, really tasting good. Yes, some hops have faded, but there's so much hops in it that now it's, instead of a triple, it's a double IPA. But it's a fantastic beer. I couldn't wouldn't be right to not end the show with a true Michigan beer. So Short's Batch 5000. We usually vote on like beers of the week and all that stuff. And what do you guys think? Why don't we just say that instead of a beer of the week, we just dedicate the show to all our veterans?
Yeah, I'm with that, JR. I had
I agree with you.
Yeah, I had a brother that was a Marine, and my mom was a Marine, so I'm with you.
Yeah, so, you know, there's no breweries or beers of the week. You know what? Our heroes of the week are those who served our country. And it's Memorial Day, so it's really about those that have given us the ultimate sacrifice. So
we can sit here and drink all of these beers because of them.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so cheers to that, man.
Here's to our veterans. Here's to everybody who serves in our armed forces. We raise our glasses to you. We toast to you. And God bless those of you that have lost a loved one, and for those that have made the ultimate sacrifice so that we can be free. Cheers.
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 So let's just go back around the country one more time. A final comment from each person, and then we'll do our farewell with the 3-letter acronym that we all know so well. Start with New Jersey, Chris. Last comments, final comments.
Pick up anything you see in the Exit series.
What's your favorite Exit? All of them.
Yeah, exactly. Well, right now, Exit 15. It's the only one I've tried, but I've been reading up on this while you guys have been talking, and I look forward to trying more Exits.
Amen. Well, that's your mission, is to get us more exits. Go down to North Kakalaka, Russ.
The drum I keep banging is the Southern Pines Drunken Vigils. That stuff was awesome. It's 13.8, so they just came in under the North Carolina limit. You can't taste it. It sneaks up on you. That stuff is so good. They knocked it out of the park when they made that, and I just hope they make a lot more next year. So that's what I have to say. Yep.
All right, let's move on to Missouri. Lieutenant Dang.
Yeah, I would just say buy enough that you can drink it now, because fresh beer is great beer of all kinds. But don't be afraid to hold a little back, to try back some more next year and the year after. But then again, I don't know, my whole view on aging beer is being challenged lately by how much I love great beer from the brewery fresh, the way they intended it to be drank, the way they brew it, when they pulled it out of the barrel or when they pulled it out of the bright tank, however it was. Drink more beer. That's my last thought.
and you know what? I couldn't agree with you more, because, for an example, I had a KBS last night, and a fresh one, and there was some older vintages. I mean, the coffee fades.
Yeah.
It's never going to be as good as it is when the coffee's fresh. Something to be said. I appreciate your words there.
That's what I told John this. I sent him 2 bottles of Mexican cake, and it's telling me that the aging on the Mexican cake is really, really spotty, and you might as well just drink it in the first year.
Well, look what's happened with the Bourbon Counties. A lot of them, or in Michigan with Odd Side Ales, there's been some great hipster brunch and some others rumored to be, falling off and turning tart, and, Odd Side has just decided to put on their label, drink it now. Don't save it, because it could change, and that's a debate for another day. But you know what? As Lieutenant Dang says, drink them up. If you got them, smoke them. I always say with my cellar, I loved the episode we did called Cellar Raid, because what if I get hit by a bus tomorrow? All these great beers will be there, and I won't have a chance to drink them. So
yeah,
let that be your motto, and that's going to be my motto for the end of this show is if you got them, smoke them. You got a cellar, drink it up. I'm going to not buy beer this weekend. I'm going to just drink up my cellar. All right, any closing comments? Chris, you want to do the tweet this?
I say, well, what about Dugout?
Oh, I'm sorry, Dugout.
Hey, no problem. Okay, so I have 2 breweries here, but I'm going to switch off of one brewery, which was the Half Acre. This is Chicago again, because, I live in Michigan and go on and on about Michigan beers, and I do go on and on about Michigan beers in previous episodes. So just take it to Chicago, and I got number 1 brewery Pipeworks, and I got number 2 brewery Spiteful. And Spiteful sort of operates in the same vein as Pipeworks, in that they're gypsy brewers, and they brew lots of different things, and they bottle lots of different things, and they all have different labels, different names, even though the beers are kind of similar, but just different tweaks. And it's a great playfulness. It's a great time to be a beer connoisseur around Chicago right now. There are a lot of great breweries doing a lot of great things.
Okay, I'm going to issue a challenge to everybody that's on the podcast tonight, because I think we got like a really great group of talent here, and of people that appreciate good beer. And I'm gonna preface this on you, Dugout. We're talking about Chicago. There's a great event in Chicago every year that it's been a bucket list event for me that I've never been to. It's called the Festival of Barrel Aged Beers, also known as the acronym FOBAB. I think it's around Thanksgiving, which could be troublesome for family plans and stuff, but let's at least entertain the idea of let's try to all get together and go this year. What do you think?
I like that idea.
I like that idea.
Those of us that are married, this will be a huge
and those of their family in Chicago probably kind of like the idea. Yeah.
Wait, did you say it's also known as the Hammered Fest?
I have never heard that, but that sounds like it could be appropriate. But
if it's barrel-aged beers, probably.
FOBAB.
I would just
Festival
say
of Barrel-Aged Beers. I'm looking at their website, and it says 2015, but November 20th, so it's got to be right around Thanksgiving. I don't know when it is. Well, we'll just keep that tucked in your back pocket.
That will definitely require negotiation.
Oh, you got that right.
Well, one more thing about Chicago area. Just a big shout out to Evil Horse Brewing, which just opened their doors, I believe, a week or 2 ago in Crete, Illinois, with Steve Camp as their head brewer. I'm sure the beers are phenomenal. From everything I've heard, the place is incredible. So check it out, Crete, Illinois. Evil Horse Brewing.
Evil Horse Brewing. We'll have to check that out.
One of my best friend's brothers, and he's been brewing his own beer since, early 80s. And he turned me on to craft brew. He turned me on to beers like Eau Claire All Malt and Fitger's Pilsner, just crazy stuff that was being brewed up in Wisconsin and Duluth, Minnesota, probably in the late 70s and early 80s. And then he
Awesome.
would brew these beers, and we'd be like, oh, we're so out of beer. And then we'd like, oh, Steve Brew.
Oh, hey, you know, we got breweries starting to send us beer, so pimp these guys up. Tell them we'll review. Come on, tell them to send some our way, and we will be glad to review.
All right.
So, hey, I just wanted to add how enjoyable this episode was to have good friends, here on the show with us from afar. Thanks for joining us, Ross and Dan. Pleasure having you on, and I hope it'll be the first of many appearances. So you're fully dubbed Beer Nuts. Thank you very much for taking the time to be with us and sending us beers and sharing your experiences with us.
Okay, man.
Thanks, guys.
It was cool. Thanks.
Shout out to Uncle Pete. He'll be joining us again soon.
Oh, amen. We really miss Uncle
Oh, yeah, we miss Uncle Pete.
Pete. Gosh,
Yeah, where's he been?
Uncle Pete has been
We're
working
out-
out of Chicago, and he comes home on like Friday, and he hasn't seen his family all week, and his wife's waiting to see him. And we usually record on Friday nights. It's just and then Sundays back to the grind, driving back to Chicago. The good news is he's been able to bring us unbelievable hauls of beer back from Chicagoland. Between him and Dugout, we got like the pipeline working here. And then we got North Carolina and Missouri for you guys. We got a great thing going. But yeah, we miss Uncle Pete a lot, and eventually his schedule will be back to normal, and he'll be with us again. I know he is dying to get back with us. He loves the show, and we'll wait patiently for his return. Good things are worth waiting for, and so I also raise my glass to Uncle Pete now, and we'll see you soon, buddy. So it's time to win that glass, Chris.
Just click on Win This Glass at MichiganBeerGuy.com. You can tweet us, use the hashtag of the three-letter acronym that we end the show with. I want to thank everybody on Instagram who's been sending us pictures of the beers they've been drinking. And, we can get in on that action on Twitter, too. Keep them coming. It shows everybody, it shows me, it shows everyone who follows the Instagram account just how tight the craft beer community is. And I just wanted to thank everyone who's been sending us the pics, and keep them coming.
Keep them coming, and you know what? The next pick that comes through, we're going to taste it on the next show. We have to trade for it. I'm going out on a limb here. I'll dig into the cellar for trade bait if I have to. Lieutenant Dang and Ross as our guests, I'd like you to lead the charge on the Mexico City cheer, so take it away. As they say in old Mexico City,
AMF.
AMF.
If you enjoy this show and want more people to know about it, head on over to iTunes, leave a comment, and rate it 5 stars. Make sure you like and share us on Facebook, and don't forget to follow us on Twitter. Just search for Christopher Media. Thank you in advance for supporting Christopher Media by clicking on the PayPal button and by clicking through to all the sponsors who support ChristopherMedia.net. Most importantly, we would like to take the time to extend an extra special thanks to you. Christopher Media could not exist without your support. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net, and thank you for listening. Christopher Media. Let's make some noise. Thank you for visiting ChristopherMedia.net.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.
It's a new year, and with T-Mobile, it's not about how far apart we are. It's about how close we can be. So we're bringing out our best deal. Right now, get the iPhone 12 on us on every single plan with eligible iPhone trade-in.
So I can FaceTime with my sister in Savannah.
That's right, the iPhone 12 on us on every plan. All on America's 5G leader in coverage. T-Mobile.
With 24 monthly bill credits and a new line plus tax. If you cancel, credit stop and balance on required finance agreement may be due. Contact us for well-qualified buyers. Qualifying consumer plan required. See coverage and offer details at T-Mobile.com.